There we go. Now this is the scheduled stream. So here we go, boys and girls. We're in. I'm going to send Rico his. I'm going to send Rico this link, and we'll get started again. I see what I did wrong. That's all right. We're all learning here. Invite, copy. Okay, go to Twitter. Now we'll go to Rico. I'm not coming in very good again. There we go. There. Hi, Isaacs. Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. Had a little bit issues going on. Now we got. Now we're good. Should be good. Anyways, I got to get Rico in here. I'm going to send him the link, and then we can get started. I'm new to all this freaking internet stuff. I'm just trying to figure it out. I thought I had it figured out. I checked it out earlier today, but apparently not. Apparently not at all. I was I was not even close. Uh, so I started a new stream, which I was supposed to go into the stream that he'd already created, but we got her. Now we got her. I'll send this over to Rico, and we will get going here. There we go. Okay, we're good. So Rico will be coming in right away. We'll be on for I don't know how long. We're gonna be on for a long time because I just like doing this sort of thing. So hey, Ice, did anybody not have the Oilers? Oh, look at Ice. Pens -1.5. Sabres -1.5. Habs ML. Flyers ML. Sens ML. That's for tomorrow. We'll be looking at that tomorrow. No doubt about that. Hopefully, I'm coming in a lot better than I was before, and Rico will be in here soon. But I had the Oilers today. I mean, this was an easy card. I got Vancouver. Um, I got the over. I had St. Louis -1.5. I had St. Louis minus 0.5 first period. I had Oilers minus 0.5 first period. And the reason why I had the Oilers here is I honestly think that Vegas wants to play Vancouver if they can. This is the created one now. Now we're on here, so we're good. All right. Rico's in the house.
And the kitties.
All right. So
Oh.
Beard did send a message saying that he wanted to talk about the Flyers and all the stuff that was going on there. I mean, I had the Flyers as a bubble team, anyways, and I thought that they were just way too green. And Tortorella doesn't. If there's one problem with Tortorella, I guess you can call it a problem, is that he's not a coach that manages players. He wants everybody. He just worries about this game to the next game to the next game. And then eventually that lineup will burn out if you don't have enough veterans, if you're young and stuff like that. And then he bitches about it. Does that seem right to you?
Yeah, I mean, Tortorella says a lot of stuff, and like I said in a couple episodes earlier, like he walks back a lot of his comments too, and that's why he went in front of the media for 15 minutes as well, and kind of explain, and again walking back all his comments over the season and stuff. So, and the guy says a lot of stuff, and he shouldn't in front of the media. Sometimes he should just, sometimes less is more. I mean, everybody knows you're upset, but at the end of the day, if I was a Philadelphia fan, you would have told me at the beginning of the year I was sniffing the playoffs in April. I think every Philadelphia fan would be more than happy. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is, man. They overachieved and they're burnt out. They got no goaltending. The thing that happened to Carter Hart was just horrible for
That's really what did it, man.
the whole situation, but that did the team in right there. That's when they went sideways. So you lose a top goalie like that amongst a bunch of young rookies that are playing in front of you, and you ask that verse, and next thing you know, you got to go knocking on Russia's door to get a goaltender. You're in real big problems.
Yeah, dude, that's never played in the league. He hasn't played in the AHL.
No, so what if he's 7'6" and looks like Nikolai Jokic? I mean, he's still never played in the league.
Yeah, it's pretty desperate. He was supposed to be over a couple of years ago. There was some political stuff going on there. They forced him to do his military and then all kinds of stuff. But, I mean, you can't. I made a mistake and said that he hadn't played on North American ice before, but apparently I was wrong. I mean, KHL does play on North American ice a lot of the time, so he has. But he hasn't played the style of the NHL, or he doesn't know his defense. He doesn't know anything. Like, it's you're throwing him to the wolves pretty much in that situation. You got a beat up defense, a beat up forward core. It's very green. I did actually. I was one of the few people apparently that predicted Philadelphia to be a bubble team because I just know how Tortorella works. But he'll get the best at everybody, and I'm not actually surprised that they're a bubble team, but I'm also not surprised that they faded down the stretch because it's just look at that lineup, man. Like they're a bunch of kids, pretty much. Couturier is like falling apart at the seams. That's why he benched him. So what do? You look at that lineup and tell me that which coach in the league is going to get that lineup to be even close to the playoffs.
Yeah,
Ice says everyone will be on the Rangers on Thursday. Be careful.
Yeah, and that's what I said in the show as well too. That I had the Islanders to beat the Rangers last night, and I'm on the Rangers at 12:30 tomorrow. I just figured that it would be kind of a home win in this 2 game span against each other. Although Varlamov did start in net, but he's been the better goalie, so it'll be interesting to see if Patrick Waugh goes back to Varlamov there, or he goes with Sorokin in their next game against
Yeah,
the
it doesn't
Rangers.
seem like he has all that much confidence in Sorokin right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, ride the hot goalie, man. Wins are at a premium, and Varlamov's had a couple good games in a row there for him. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it could be a tough game, but it's kind of hard to fade the Rangers there. But I understand what Ice is saying too, because I mean, the Islanders are going to should be putting every effort in their being into that game. Like they are going to come completely correct. There's no way they're shitting the bed in that game. So it's going to be tight, I would say. On Saturday, that's on Saturday, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Like no matter what, the Islanders are going to like every ounce of their energy will be put into that game. So, do you think the Rangers want to fight that hard in that game though? Like they're set in their spot. They don't need to like prove anything to anybody. Like, Ice might have a good might have something there. Like I just don't know if the Rangers need to go out and have a war. If the Islanders are going to win that game, they got to turn it into a war, I would say. Because the Rangers may not want to go do that. Do you think the Rangers will actually sit people that game?
yeah. That's another thing is the end of the season grows near. Is who's hitting who? I mean, the Rangers, the Flyers are at the Rangers next tomorrow, but then when it comes time to Saturday, you're getting into resting players time potentially. I mean, where do the Rangers go? Up, down? I don't think they're going too far. The only thing is, like, they're only 3 points ahead of Carolina for the lead in that division too. But I mean, who do you want to play as well? Because Carolina, being second in that division, is getting the Islanders in the first round right now, and the Rangers are getting the Capitals. So if I was the Rangers, I'd probably want to stay in that first and play the Capitals instead of the Islanders. In my opinion, I'd rather play the Caps, but it all comes down to matchups as well. I know Beard will have the divorce cup going on, him and his wife watching the Rangers and the Capitals in the first round. So I want that to happen just because of the good times we'll have watching that one. So and I think the Islanders match up not too bad against Carolina. I don't know. Islanders got the better goaltending, unless you count Freddie Anderson in there, which has been all right lately, but still hasn't taken a run at a lot of games in a row. He's been out for a long time.
Yeah, I don't know if they can keep up to the pace of Carolina. That's the thing. Like they play with the pace that I'm not sure that they can keep up.
Well, I think the Islanders got a better shot at making it a series against Carolina than Washington. I think Washington has a better chance against the Rangers, in my opinion.
Trying to find our thing again. Did you find it? Sports area. Yeah, it should be good. All right, there we go. So, anyways, yeah, I don't know if Carolina in the end if the Islanders can hold up to that depth in that series. I would be very surprised if the the Islanders beat Carolina there. They would have a better chance against a team like Toronto.
Be very surprised if
Or the Rangers, actually. I would think that they would have a better chance against the Rangers. They don't want to play against a super fast, deep team, I don't think. But if Anderson, does his normal stuff and he's injured after 2 games, so you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Rangers will get KO'd if they face the Isles first round.
Oh, nice. We got the Chicago St. Louis over 5.5. I mean, I don't know why anybody would not take that over 5.5 tonight. That seemed like a gamey. I mean, I didn't expect St. Louis to score 4 goals in the first period either, but over 5.5, 2 teams that don't care what's going on, just roll the puck out on the ice, let them play, and 5-2. Beautiful. Cash to Khrushchev and Zach Balduke. Zach Balduke on the first line. Paid well for the goal prop there.
Yeah, you know what? I honestly didn't have the over there. I had -1.5 full game in first period, and I should have had the over. You're absolutely right. Should have been paying more attention there and taking that.
It was a 5.5, but I thought.
But I had a 6. I didn't have a 5.5, but even not that.
Well, I think because Mrazek was expected to play, and then all of a sudden Soderblom got confirmed for reasons I have no idea.
No, Mrazek got kicked out. Mrazek let 3 goals in the first 5 minutes.
Oh, he did start. Oh, okay. I caught the game a little bit. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If it was Soderblom, I would have been so on the over. It would have been insane.
Oh, well, Mrazek, he let in 3 goals on 3 shots. I did not start watching that game, and when I turned it on, I saw Soderblom.
Yeah, he got the shit kicked out of him right away. Woo. And it wasn't really his fault. They just weren't playing anything like that. That team is checked out. They're done.
Yeah.
Most of those guys are just kids. Their defense is full of young, Vlasic and really young kids that aren't used to playing in 82 game schedule, let alone against NHL players. It's pretty tough it's not that they're not trying, but it's the reason why you keep kids in the minors for a long time, to build up the muscle mass to go through an 82 game schedule.
Yeah.
And they just don't have it.
You got Jared Tenorti, Zaitsev. And, the only one there really is Seth Jones. But
yeah. And Jared Tenorti and Zaitsev probably wouldn't be playing on it. They would be an 8th or 9th defenseman on any really good team out there. Mm-hmm. So, especially Zaitsev. He might not even be an NHLer at this point. So, yeah, pretty hard to keep on going there. Can't blame them. I don't think they're people say, oh, they're tanking. I don't know if the management is tanking, because if you're going to put that young of a lineup there and try to get them to play a 60, and that's pretty much what was happening in Philadelphia too, is that because I think Tortorella was really upset that they didn't add at the deadline after all these players worked their balls off to get to this point. I think that was really what it came down to. Is why didn't you add so we can go for a run? Even just take, and management's no, don't you remember, Torts? We are rebuilding. We're not throwing assets. And it was frustrating for him, and I get it, but. Are you coming back? Rangers will win 6-4 over the Islanders on Saturday, Huh. So Andrew thinks that the Rangers are going to win 6-4 over the Islanders on Saturday. So they're just going to come balls out offense. I mean, that's an interesting way of looking at it. Maybe. I think I would take Islanders first period in that game at the very least. Like, they're going to come correct in that first period.
Well,
Occupancy.
So,
Do you want to come on, buddy?
dude,
I'm certainly not going to send you the link in the chat, that's for sure. But if you want to,
Pearlo, can you imagine the Islanders and the Rangers in the first round?
yeah, it would be freaking awesome, dude. It would be awesome.
That would actually be. I said
That would be
today.
freaking
Yeah, the
amazing.
Islanders have a chance in that series. Can you imagine them playing each other?
Oh, occupancy is in class. Oh gosh, he's working on his thinkings. I see you're very focused on your class right there. So, comment in the comments section, occupancy. What do you think? Islanders, Rangers.
Is there any reason you don't go Islanders or Vancouver like puck line tonight or something? Because
I got him on puck line.
Just showed up to that game last night either means that they're just on a little trip and they don't really care, or they just held.
Yeah, what do you think? Do you think the Islanders have a chance? Occupancy. Sorry to stomp on you there, buddy, but I mean, after all that news came down, I think Arizona's going to be pretty deflated in that game. I would think. Right?
I got Connor Garland points to the moon. Over 1.5 points against former team. I got the Garland goal, got the Garland assist.
Oh, good for you.
Höglander goal. I got the Cooley, Gunther, and Josh Doan goal props. I didn't even take a side on the game or anything. I just hope to see some.
I got Vancouver puck line in the over in that game. I just think they're going to come out like. I don't see any reason why they're going to settle out for Arizona on the road here. But with the Smith and net,
it's not the Smith though.
Oh, it's Seeloff's. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's already confirmed.
I mean, he's just a kid. Like, he's a good. He'll at least allow 2, I would think. I could be wrong, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good bet. Occupancy Cincy. I'll put it up here. Says exact game 6 or 7 for that Rangers series, if that were to happen. It's not bad at all.
Yeah, Connor Ingram's confirmed against Seelovs.
Now, Ingram's kind of fallen off as the season's gone on. This Vegas game is going pretty much the way I figured it would. I should have took the under. I wanted to talk about that a little bit too. I honestly think that they want Vancouver in the first round. I didn't think they were going to go balls out in this game. But I'm going to bring up the standings here. And look at the matchups here. So right now, it would be Vegas versus Vancouver. The thing is, though, the Blues just won. So, like, they're not comfortable here. The Blues are now 1 point behind them. Now, they've got a lot of games in hand. Like, the Blues have 2 games left. After this, they're going to have 3 games left. And they got a fairly decent schedule, I believe Vegas does. After this, if I remember correctly, they only have 1 difficult game. Minnesota, Colorado, yeah. And then, so Minnesota, Minnesota is their bitch. they just beat the shit out of Minnesota every
The
single
problem, Perlo,
time.
is Vegas wants to win and get ahead of
Oh,
Nashville
and then
because if they're in wild card 2 right now, they're playing the Dallas Stars. If they get into wild card 1, they're going to play Vancouver. Dallas
oh
is
yeah,
5
Dallas is
points
on their
ahead.
top line. That's right. So, but then they got Chicago and Anaheim at the end of the season. You know, they'll beat the shit out of both of those teams. No doubt about that.
And
So that
Vegas is only 1 point back of LA, but yeah, you don't want that third spot in the
That's right. They would play
Western
Dallas.
in
I
the Pacific.
apologize. It wouldn't be Vancouver. It would be Dallas. that'd be one
Yeah,
hell
if
of
you
a
want to play
series.
Vancouver, you need to finish first in the wild card.
Yeah, and I think they still figure that they can do that because besides Colorado, they got Minnesota, who basically is their freaking prison bitch. They can destroy them anytime they want. Then Colorado will be a tough game, but Colorado will be in a position, I think, that they're not going to be 2 balls out in that game where Vegas can. Like, they can take it easy in this game. They don't need to beat themselves up. And then they have like Chicago and Anaheim, and as long as they're coming balls out for those 2 games, they're probably in that second position and they're playing Vancouver, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to beat Vancouver. I'll have probably 2 or 3 units on that. Vancouver ain't winning that series. I don't.
A lot of people, man. A lot of people are fading Vancouver right now.
Yeah, I mean, especially if Demko's not in. Like, so I'm on the public there. That's the only scary part about it, but I just can't see them. I can't see them beating Vegas there. What do you think? You think are you fading Vancouver, or are you a little more positive than I am?
It's hard, man. I want to see Demko back, but the thing is, when he's back, and if they're holding him out a little longer than usual, just as a precaution, I mean, the guy still needs games going into the playoffs, so you can't just hold him out unless he's. I mean, simulation games and everything aren't the same as real games, so I'd like to see him start at least 1 or 2 before the end of the year. And Lindholm's been an issue since he's gotten to Vancouver. He started off really well there, but the thing is, Vancouver's mushed up their line so much too. Now you got Höglander playing with Pettersson and Besser, and Garland looked good up there. And then they moved Garland down with Miller, and it's just they're mixing stuff up a little bit. And I mean, they ran off with the lead in the Pacific very early because Edmonton was struggling too. So they banked a lot of points earlier in the year to take the top of that division when Vegas wasn't playing so well either. And I mean, it's I mean, I'm not going to count them out because they still have 104 points. They still have Rick Tocchet. They still have an excellent lineup. They still have Quinn Hughes. Still got JT Miller and Pettersson and Besser. Those guys all been playing good. Garland's been playing really good. So it's going to be tough. Vancouver's going to have to match up well against who they play in the first round. I don't know if I don't know who matches up well for Vancouver because it seems like they've got a little bit of weaknesses in their depth defense, and maybe in their bottom 6. Obviously, their goaltending is the biggest question going into the playoffs. With Demko being a little bit rusty, that's the thing that concerns me the most.
The thing that concerns me a lot is sort of like Seattle last year, although they did get a round out of it. They were kind of surviving on a high shooting percentage for halfway through the season. And then I was like, well, what's going to happen when that shooting percentage comes down? But I have to say, they've actually really improved defensively and playing a better positional and possession game. after that. Like I thought they might even get hit a little harder than they did, but they're playing better than I really thought they would once that shooting percentage went down. But they have gone through dips. I think a lot of it, I think we have to remember that this team has kind of been thrown together quite a bit. Like they haven't really had, they've only had one season to gel, and you've got like Suter came in. Now you got Lindholm in there. Hoglander, he played with them last year, but he didn't really play. He was more in the minors and stuff like that. So I think this team, and then they brought in Susie in the offseason. They brought in Zadorov, Ian Cole. Like this team is really just forming more than anything. And that's the reason why I think that they might lose in the first round. I think they'll be a better team next year than they are this year because there's been a lot of change, and Tockett's done a really good job of putting it all together there. But, I mean, it takes teams time to gel. Every team. Even Colorado, like, they lost to Minnesota that one year, and, you know, it took time to gel. Lightning, they lost to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel you. I feel your pain there, Columbus fans. They beat our Leafs as well too in the playoffs.
Did somebody say something about that in the chat?
No, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
I feel your pain too,
just-
Columbus. If anybody's a
just-
Columbus fan
yeah.
out there, don't feel bad
Yeah.
about your team. Yeah, you knocked off Tampa and you knocked off Toronto in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Nugent Hopkins over 1.5 points. Beautiful.
There you go, buddy.
Top line minutes.
Vegas did just score.
Good. Who was it?
Frick. It was Kolasar. I don't think you had a Kolasar goal prop out
No.
there.
Probably not all year. Probably not all year.
It would have been really cool if you did, but
Keegan Kolasar probably plus 900 to get a goal.
you're in my sight there. When you get those goal props, don't be. Didn't I make you a administrator or whatever? You can throw those in there.
Oh, Hannafin. Yeah, Noah Hannafin. Point prop. Money in the bank.
Nice. You had that? Oh
yeah.
Wow.
Hannafin's been doing well.
Yeah. This was my big bet. I had this, like, the Oilers to win this game. I thought that this was money right here. So, so I guess we should be, because we're supposed to only go an hour. I can tell you right now, we'll be going longer than an hour. I just have too much fun doing this. I got nothing else to do, unless you want to bolt out, dude. But
no, buddy, I'm good.
all right, as long as you're good. So I guess we'll look at tomorrow's games, unless there is. I haven't looked at what some of the happenings of recent. Have I missed some like big things that just happened? Is there anything you wanted to look at or talk about that just happened?
I think it was a soft news day, apart from the Arizona stuff, and Philly letting in 9 goals to Montreal last night. Not a whole lot going on. McDavid did sit out tonight, so hopefully it's nothing too serious for the Oilers.
Yeah, I think he's just taking a break.
Yeah.
And I didn't even mind that, actually. I still was all over. It didn't matter who was. Seth Jones and Alex Vlasic. By the way, I mentioned Alex Vlasic, and it kind of like poo-pooed on him a little bit, but that guy's going to be one hell of a defenseman. Like, he's just really young. He's only 22 years old, but he's a big dude, and he plays really well for his age. In fact, Chicago's got a hell of a lot of good young defensemen there. It's just that they're young. I'm not dismissing them. It's just like it's a very young defense. Seth Jones will suit up for USA at the World Championships. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Did you get into the Worlds there after? I like to watch it. I think
Well,
it's
I'll
pretty
watch
good.
it anytime Canada, US, other teams are playing. I'll definitely watch it. It's something on TV. It's hockey, and sometimes there's some pretty good players that play on bad teams that go over there and play. But other news, Nashville punched their ticket to the playoffs last night as well too, and it got me thinking. Like Ryan O'Reilly scored a big goal in that game too, and him not choosing to stay in Toronto, and I'm like, man, why would you go to Nashville? They probably might not even make the playoffs next year, and like. Look what the Predators do. I never thought that Ryan O'Reilly would be a number one center on a team ever again. I mean, he came to Toronto, he was like a number 2, number 3 center, like through that playoff run and stuff. And just all of a sudden he goes to Nashville, is number 1 center between Nyquist and Forsberg, and boom, like they're just carrying this team all freaking year. And like when you look at those
he's one
names on
hell of a
paper, Novak, Jankowski, Evangelista, like even Colton Sissons, he's been there for a while, but second line center, like Nashville on paper doesn't have the flashiest team out there, but man, did they ever get it done this year, punching their ticket to the playoffs? And got a good goaltender. Sure. Yeah, you build it from the net out, man. You got Saros, Yossi, and then a solid top line. And Nashville's been doing it with their depth scoring as well too. So interesting who's going to get them in the first round.
I've heard Carolina I think you said contacted other teams. Huh? No. Sorry, I don't get what you said there, St. Martin.
See, I think he's saying I've heard Carolina compared with other teams for what depth looks like for an exhausting game 6, game 7.
So apparently I'm on the Tuesday stream right now. I don't know how that worked. It's funny, lots of people are watching, and I'm on the Tuesday stream. Screwed up somehow there. But, yeah. So anyways, we'll go into the games. I'll try to change that. Can I change that? Nightly for Thursday the 11th. NHL Nightly for Thursday the 11th, April 2024. That's what it says.
It's Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday. That's
one second.
How do I change that? Edit. Anyways, trying to figure it out. But all right, let's go into the games tomorrow. We got lots of games to do tomorrow. We'll talk about all kinds of news and shit for each one of those games because it's going to be one hell of a great card tomorrow for sure.
5-1
That's
Oilers.
Yeah.
Dylan Holloway.
Dylan Holloway scores a goal. That's pretty cool. He's kind of a like I don't know. I don't know where they're going with that dude. Is he supposed to be a bottom six? Do they think he's going to be a bottom six?
I think he'll be good. I mean, he's only 22. He isn't a Wyatt Johnson or anything, but he's a first-round pick by the Oilers, so he's from Calgary too, playing for Edmonton.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason why they picked him because a lot of people don't want to go to Edmonton.
No, he's probably got his family at the game every night.
Okay, so now I see. I was on the right thing before this, but anyways, I guess people will figure it out. Okay, let's go to the games for tomorrow. Odd Shark.
My cat wants to be on the show.
Yeah. You're not showing me the odds for tomorrow. All right, so tomorrow we got a huge card. Well, not huge, but big card. Start off with Washington and the Sabres. Really mad at myself that I took Washington against Detroit. Should be going with the veteran team in those spots. Detroit is really just a very young team. You got over 6 and Buffalo at home coming off. I think they're coming off a Western road trip, are they not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just in Dallas the other night.
Yeah, so one day off, and yeah, I could only take the Capitals here. Are they going to go with Lindgren here? Or are they going to finally give Kemper a shot against Buffalo? And you what?
After that game that Lindgren put up against the Red Wings, there's no way he's not getting a net again here.
I would think so, right? Because like this is their season. Like they're just going to ride him all the way through with the Lightning and all the way through, right?
I think so. I mean, you can argue that he's been the Capitals MVP all year. He might even get MVP votes.
He should. He should.
Mm-hmm.
If you had Kemper and a lesser goaltender, do you think Washington makes the playoffs this year? Even comes close?
I could see this Washington-Buffalo game basically being exactly like the Washington-Detroit game of the last game. I could see it kind of being a little bit low scoring and a little bit in Washington's favor. I could see like a 3-1 type Washington win here where they just don't give Buffalo anything and they just try to scrape out the win. I don't think they can go back and forth with the Sabres young guys.
That's what I would think too.
And Buffalo's going to be a little tired coming off the road trip. I don't think they're going to have their legs either.
Yeah, they're probably not going to set the pace early, and if they don't, they probably aren't going to get anything. Like, right? It probably wouldn't be a bad play to take the Capitals puck line first period.
Mm-hmm.
Capitals are going to come up balls out. Yeah, there's no doubt about it to me.
It's
Like,
their
they're not
season,
going to
man.
come up. It's their season. And the Sabres, they're out of it. Got a bunch of
Yeah.
young kids, just got home. They're all jumping up and down on their girlfriends before they go in the game. Like, yeah, this is a Washington spot all day.
Well, yeah, and it's a weird spot too, Perlo. It's because it wasn't a long road trip for Buffalo. All they did was they went to Detroit, then to Dallas, but they're back home against Washington here, and then they go to Florida, and then Tampa at end of the year. So they're making a quick pit stop at home against the Capitals here, and then they're going to sunny Florida. So I think the boys from Buffalo will be looking forward to this little Florida State 2-gamer.
St. Martin says, is Tage Thompson someone the Caps would man mark? Yeah, you take out Tage, and I think that's what you mean by that. Like, they're going to be focusing on Tage Thompson. I mean, I suppose, but really, I think they're going to play more of a man-on-man against Buffalo here. They don't really have much to, I don't think they have to identify one player.
Well, the thing is, with Buffalo too, is they get a lot of scoring from their defense between Darlene, Byron, and Owen Power. Like they're racking up points from the back end right now too. So like they're a 5-man attack a lot of times on the ice. The Sabres are.
So looking at that, we both think Washington's going to win this. So let's look at each team. And what do you think the Sabres are looking to do in the offseason? Pretty interesting question when you look at their team and where they are and where they expect to be and where they think they should be. What do you think they do in the offseason?
I don't know. I mean, they moved out of their leadership in Kyle Opozo. They moved him down to the Florida Panthers, so they're letting the young guys have the room a little bit more, which is, it's always risky when you don't have a leader in there. Like who's the oldest player on that team right now? Might be Jeff Skinner, and they got a lot of young guys there, man. Alex Tuck, I think you bring in another veteran guy, maybe someone a little younger than Opozo, a little more impactful for those young players. Maybe sign some type of free agent for a decent price that has good leadership skills. I think to continue the development of those young guys, I think that would be my number one priority. And make sure Pekka Luukkonen has a good offseason and maybe go in there as your number one next year. And maybe try to find a number two. Maybe try to find another goalie there because I don't know if Eric Comrie's the answer. And, the other guy, was he, Devin Levi, I think?
Devin Levi's got it. Yeah, he's a young kid. He looks like a really good goaltender. But
yeah, so I think figure out the goaltending situation there and maybe bring in some veteran help, whether it be on the blue line or up front. I mean, the blue line's pretty green back there too, so I think a little more leadership on the ice.
And here's something for you. And I don't know if he's going to be totally available or what's going to happen. But what would you think about throwing a wad at Stamkos? Like, isn't that kind of the guy that they need there? Throwing a wad at Stamkos to lead this team. And just maybe he might relish the idea of being like the true number one and a true leader, almost like O'Reilly with the Preds. Like that's to me, that's what this team is missing. They're missing a guy who's been there, done that, won cups, and knows how to lead a team to doing the things you need to do through the regular season, through the off season, through everything to win a cup. Like a voice where you can't even argue with the dude, right? Like you had Okposo as your captain. I mean, what did he do in his career? Nothing against Ox, but he didn't really do anything in his career. Skinner didn't do shit. Like He hasn't. Didn't he just get 1,000 games and he never had a playoff game?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they got nobody in that room that has a voice that matters. That you can say, "Look, I've done this." Who in that room can do that? That's what they need. They need some guys in there. Go get Maroon if you can. You know, guys like that, guys that have won cups and can say, "Look, you shut the hell up. You listen to me. I won 3 cups." That's what they need.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I would throw it.
for sure. And I mean,
Sorry,
they
go
did
ahead.
try it. They did try it with Eric Johnson this year, but I just don't think he was the right guy. I think you need a veteran up front, not necessarily on the D. I think you need like a center, like you said, maybe like a Stamkos or
Yeah.
a cup winning center, kind of a leader, whether he plays in front of Tage Thompson or and put Dylan Cousins down to the third line center role and put Tage Thompson as a top line center and have a Ryan O'Reilly Stamkos type playing the number 2 center role. And no, I mean, and that's exactly what my initial thought was: more leadership on the ice and solidify the goaltending.
And the hard part is that in free agency, there's not much of that out there besides a Stamkos. I'm just going down the list right now. I mean, there's not many guys out there that could say I could put a stamp on to be able to do that sort of thing. That have won cups and are leaders. As far as I can tell, he's the only one I can see.
Well, guys that can drive a line, right? Ryan O'Reilly can help drive a line as well too. You know, the other free agents I could think of are Marchessault and Reinhart, but I don't think Reinhart would be the same without Barkov beside him. He would probably still do all right, but I don't think he's leaving Florida, and Marchessault, I don't think he's leaving Vegas either.
Yeah.
But I mean, both of them made it to the Cup final last year, so that's just recency bias. But
yeah, in Washington now, you go down another road. Where do you go with them? Even if they make the playoffs this year,
they need a center. You can't have Connor McMichael playing top line center for that team next year when the season starts. They need a playmaking center. They need another clone of a Backstrom there. They need somebody else that could pass over the puck to break Gretzky's record.
That's easy to say, but I mean, how do you find that? It's not like they're out there all over the place. Again, going back to Stamkos, you know, maybe that's what it is.
I don't know if you want Stamkos and Ovechkin on the same line, but
what's that?
I don't know if you want Stamkos and Ovechkin playing on the same line. They both score the same goals. Almost seems like in the same spots a lot of times, but
yeah, I just don't see. I'm trying to look at like what's out there to be able to get a center like that. It's easier said than done.
You know what, Pearlo, who hasn't? I'll tell you one guy who hasn't fared that well, and he might not make the money that he wanted from Calgary, is maybe some type of Elias Lindholm to play beside Ovechkin.
Yeah. I'm not a big Lindholm guy, like you said, and I like, and I'm not surprised he struggled in Vancouver, but he would be better than anybody they got. And Ovechkin doesn't need much. He certainly was able to feed Goudreau and Tkachuk when he was on a great line, so maybe he might have that, and maybe that might be the guy for them for sure. But either way, you're still saying they're going to be buyers, right? They're going to be buyers, right? They're not going to sell off.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Washington's one of those teams where they're kind of building on the fly while Ovechkin's still there. I don't think they're going to necessarily tank, but they just need to surround him until they break Gretzky's record. And if they go to a bit of a rebuild with Ryan Leonard and stuff from there, I mean, they're not. The Washington, I don't think, is going to be a team that bottoms out because they still have some prospects coming. So I think they just need a centerman. I mean, you can't have Connor McMichael playing with McDavid or with Ovechkin. Sorry, I just he's not a top line guy yet. He's not polished enough to play on a top line between Ovechkin and Tom Wilson.
Yeah, another guy that maybe if Dallas can't afford him, it depends on if he wants to stay there for less, is a guy like Matt Duchene or something like that. He doesn't need much, but I still say they're going to be buyers to a certain extent. They're going to have to get it.
Yeah.
Like you said, they can't come in next year with Dylan Strome and McMichael as your top two.
And remember, like the center depth in the free agent class isn't too deep. I mean, there's Lindholm, like I'd mentioned, but there's also Adam Henrique as well too. So whether he stays in Edmonton or not, it's going to be interesting to see. I know there's a Wenberg in New York playing for the Rangers. Wenberg's a free agent as well. So I mean, the center depth in the free agent class isn't very huge. So sometimes that means those guys will get overpaid, and then Lindholm ends up in Columbus because he's making 9.5 where everybody else is giving him 7. So that's always a fear as well too, that guys like that end up on a bad team just because they're taking a paycheck. And that's what makes it interesting about Stamkos' case as well too. He's in a no tax state right now. I'm sure they'll crunch the numbers of them down in Florida, and I can't see him going anywhere except for staying in Tampa.
Yeah, I think that's likely the case too. But I mean, it's still out there.
Mm-hmm.
And like his last contract went right down to the wire as well. So he's kind of got an agent that is not in a hurry, and is going to extract as much as they can. So I think more than likely, I would agree with you. He gets a 3-year deal in Tampa, and he's off the list. And Washington is scrambling around trying to find a center to play with Ovechkin next year. That's probably the most likely scenario there. I like Henrique, though. I would like to see Edmonton bring him back, but I don't think they're going to be able to afford him. I think there's going to be a lot of teams out there for him. I could even see him going back to New Jersey. But next game, we got Columbus and Florida. Columbus has given up the ghost, have they not?
Yeah, you could pretty much throw in the towel for them. Thing is, that's a road game too, so it's hard to get up for a road game. I mean, Florida's like, I think they're like minus 400 to win this game. Jet Greaves is probably going to be in net for Columbus. I mean, Florida hasn't been playing the best. Sure, they won their last one, but they got a 500 record with a couple ties in their last 10 games. So I know injuries have been a little bit of a concern for Florida. They're just trying to get healthy right now and make it to the playoffs. But yeah, Florida's not blowing anybody out right now either, and they beat the Sens 6-0, but they beat them 2-0 their last game. They got the Sabres and Leafs after this, so Florida's done all their games on the road. Now they're at home just trying to get healthy, waiting for the playoffs. They're not going on the road anymore.
Yeah, I think it'll be Stolarz in net, and they'll give Bobrovsky a break here. I can't take Columbus. Just watching them. They got nothing. They got nothing. I don't even see how they really get up for this game. Like, if it was like Pittsburgh or something where these young guys are gonna, want to, like, their idols are out there. There's no real idols for Columbus here. I think both goaltenders are injured. It's going to be Greaves again, isn't it? Or Malcolm Subban?
Yeah, it might be Greaves.
Yeah.
I mean, Reinhardt's got 90 points, 53 goals. I mean, I don't know how many more goals he's trying to chase for the year, but Kachuk's got 84 points, Barkov 76. I mean, there's no real milestones to hit for any of the Panthers, but I think they're just trying to get healthier now, but I can't see them losing.
Alex
At home
Nylander's
against the
injured
Jets.
too, even. Alex
Yeah.
Nylander is injured too. You have no Shinnikov, no Jenner, no Meyer, no. I mean, come on. Like, they got nothing in this lineup at all.
And
Florida could float through this game and win this game, I think.
well, that they're only 3 points ahead of the Leafs for home ice in that first series against the Leafs as well. I don't know how much home ice going to matter in that series. I think sometimes Florida would rather start on the road like they did all last playoffs. They basically started on the road in every series last year, but
yeah,
it'll be Florida some type of play here. I think Paul Maurice gets the guys ready to start at least on time, so maybe Florida first period puck line, maybe first period over.
Yeah, it's pretty much what I would go with. Team total over. But I get it. Like, this could be. You want to look at this as a possible letdown spot because they really have nothing to play for against Columbus here. Like, maybe they just don't even give a shit, like, completely. But that's the only way they're losing this game.
Florida is so heavily favored, Pearlo, that you might as well just take Columbus as just a shot in the dark here because you're going to, like St. Martin said in the chat, they're on minus 476. Who's going to take the Panthers at that money?
Yeah. How do you
I know I know it's hockey. It's not the NFL where it's any given Sunday, but this is like pretty much begging you to take the Blue Jackets here.
Yeah, I can't do that. I might look at Florida team total over 1.5 first period or something like that. Like just 2 goals, or just maybe the full game over. But I don't even know if Columbus could get there. Yeah, it's not a good game. So, anyways, Cap's going up next year. Significantly. Florida does have cap space, but they are. Do you think for sure they're going to drop 9 to 10 million on Reinhart?
They're going to pay him, and the biggest reason why is they locked up Forsling not too long ago at a very, very good price, and it's all strategy, man. And that's why they did it at that time. They locked Forsling in at the right time a couple months ago. I think it was around a couple months ago. They locked Forsling in for a good number so they can afford Reinhart. I think the deal's already written in pen. I think it's pretty much done already with Reinhart, in my opinion. I've never read that. I've never heard that, but I'm pretty sure that this deal is already set in stone for him, and that's why they locked up Forsling. So the money works, and he's not going to go anywhere. He's playing beside Barkov. You could play beside him for the rest of your career and live in sunny Florida and no tax, and I'm sure they've crunched the numbers already. And why would you go anywhere else? You could have a target on your back if you go to another team because now you're a 50-goal scorer, and if you don't do it again, you're going to be a bust. And you can make the same money with the no tax state in Florida as you would in a tax state, making a little bit more. So no reason for Reinhart to leave, and no reason for the Panthers to let him go.
And they really just gave him a shot too out of Buffalo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, they just stole him from Buffalo, I think, in that deal. I can't remember. It was ridiculously low. And I remember him when he was the last year when he was in Buffalo. They were playing him as a center on the top line. He looked absolutely fantastic. I couldn't believe there weren't more players in on Reinhart there. But this Florida team, they're a highly analytics influenced team. And it shows because, like, every single one of their players almost are fantastic two-way guys. The only thing is, they like if you give him what do you think the number is for him though? Like, is he gonna go like 9? Like on the open market, he probably gets 10.5. I would think. What do you think the number is?
Yeah, I mean, just look at the
28 years
stats.
old.
But then they're going to start breaking down who you're playing with and stuff too. And then teams are getting smarter because he's moved up on that right side with Barkov, who's a generational two-way player that's been on a lot of his assists and stuff as well too. And he's playing top power play minutes. He's playing right in a slot on the power play, so he's getting all the shots to the net. Like
yeah. Well, they can just go in. They can go into the room and say, Exhibit 1, Huberdeau.
Oh, okay. Exactly. Do PowerPoint presentation, and as soon as he walks in a room for a contract negotiation, put Huberdeau's face on there as a flame and saying, "You want this?
Yeah.
If you really want this, you can have it."
Hey, awesome! You got all these points, but we had another dude here that did just that, playing with Barkov, and now you're playing with Barkov. So, how about we go 8.5 for 7, and
and you're paying no tax, and you're playing in a beautiful city. You go with shorts and flip flops to every single game, even in February.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or you can go take off and play for, I don't know who's going to give him the 9 or 10.
Yeah, I'll talk to Kekalainen, and you can go right up to Columbus if you want. They're willing to pay you 11.
Oh yeah. They'll pay you the $10 million to go play with Lion A and freaking Goudreau. Have fun with that.
No,
but you're making $10 million. So
I think that contract's already pretty much written in stone.
I would think so too. I don't think he's going anywhere. I just thought I would bring it up for conversation purposes because that's why we're here. And
the key thing there was signing Forsling. That was key, locking up Forsling.
Yeah, they got him at a good price. I still think they got to work on their defense there because Ekblad just seems like a injury waiting to happen as well. They don't have much depth in their minor league system to bring up guys and stuff like that. But Reinhardt's got to stay.
Forsling's at 5.75. Forsling's making 5.75 till 2032, so he's locked in.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I bet you Chicago Blackhawks are pissed off that they let him go.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was just trying to see here what's Verhaeghe at. He's going to be a UFA in 2 years at $4 million, but that's all right. I mean, I think they're set up pretty good to be able to give him a decent contract. As much as Tarasenko thinks he's going to stay in Florida, unless he comes in at pretty much $3 million, I don't think so. I know he was like using every angle to get to Florida. Fired 2 agents. He was going to Florida, and that was it. But I just don't see him long-term there at all. So you remove that, and you add some deep team could be even better next year than it is this year, I would think.
Just draft well, man.
That's all you got to do. This Dimitrov kid, another Russian there. Maybe they keep on just going with Russians, building up that Russian base because Russians love to play with each other, and you can draw them. They have a hard time drawing people to Columbus, so maybe they just go the Russian route and just keep this Dimitrov kid's supposed to be pretty fantastic. He's projected as a 2nd overall pick.
And Columbus packed that barn too. Like they got a good home setup there. So
their fan base is phenomenal considering how shit they've done. Like really, they got a great fan base there. So they got to start coming correct here soon, or it's not even fair. So, anyways, Philly versus the Rangers. Is there any right now? Can you really make a case for Philly in this spot? In any spot?
I mean, Carolina's only 3 points behind the Rangers. They're not letting this one go. I mean, they can't lose at home to the Flyers going into that Islanders game on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could make a case for a look-ahead spot to a certain degree, but you can't trust any goaltender. I mean, this team just is absolutely horrible. In normal situations, you would look at a team that just got their ass kicked the game before, and like they're going to come correct here. But I just don't think that Philadelphia has the legs or anything to come correct in any game going down the road, down the stretch here. I think Tortorella took a big shot. And by the way, I don't think that what Tortorella says in public is what he says in the room. Like, I think a lot of that had to do with him really getting the media focused on him, so the players didn't have to deal with anything. Like, I think that had more to do with that tirade than anything. I think when he went in the room, he didn't say what he said in public. He does that all the time, I think. Like, he gives a narrative out to the media to take the shine off the players. But I think he knows that, you know, this team gave everything they got, and they just don't got the finish. They just don't have it.
Yeah. And Pittsburgh and Detroit and Washington all have game in hand on Philly as well, too. So this is definitely a nail in the coffin game for Philadelphia. If it wasn't in Montreal last night, which it probably was, this one, yeah. I mean, Philly missing the playoffs isn't a bad thing either. It's like Beard said, you wanted to lose 4-0 or 4-1 in the first round, or you want to be able to be thrown in a pool with some of the top draft picks in the offseason. It's like
Andrew's taking Philly. Wow. That's ballsy, dude.
Yeah.
You think the Stars will
Never
go
know.
deep, so as the Jets. So you think the Jets are going to beat the Colorado Avalanche?
One sec, wait.
St. Martin says Wings plus 118. Puck line. Oh, I like doing those little plays, St. Martin, if you're still in. Like, take the dog and then take a puck line plus 1.5. So you're getting an average about minus 130. We haven't got to those games yet, but I just noticed that you do that. I do that too. I do that quite a bit. We get to that game right now. I mean, before we're going to talk about what Philadelphia is going to do in the offseason. The Rangers, I don't think we'll talk about that much because their team's pretty much complete. But while we're waiting for Rico, I'm pretty afraid to take. You back? Anyways, I'm pretty afraid to take Detroit here. I mean, that was a spot for them in Washington. Now, that being said, they they shot the shit out of it. It's not like they didn't have a good game. They just ran, like, Lindgren played out of his fucking mind.
Yeah, and when it was 2-0, I think Detroit had that breakaway and Lindgren stopped them. I mean, anytime Detroit had any momentum, Lindgren came up big in that game.
Yeah, Lindgren pretty much won that. And we were already talking about how you could make a very good case that he could get the most valuable player to his team, but they don't like to give that to goaltenders, so it's not likely going to happen. But, I mean, you could definitely make a really good case that it should. No doubt about it. Just looking at the schedule for both.
Pittsburgh's got a tough one. I know that. I think Detroit's got a bit of a tough schedule too.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's got Boston after this.
Well, yeah, Detroit's got Toronto, Montreal.
Well, they could do Montreal. I mean, they could even beat Detroit. I think they're both fairly well rested too. I just can't. I can't get off of Pittsburgh here. A veteran team like this. They had a. Yeah, I mean, they're playing. They are playing their best hockey of the season. At home, and they got Boston next. Like, if they don't win this game, their season is in serious jeopardy, because then you got Boston, and who do they got after that? They got a couple games after that, probably.
I like Pittsburgh in this spot too. I think if they come out the way they came out against Tampa and they came out against Colorado last week, the thing is Pittsburgh will come out, but their veterans and the age of their team starts showing through the second and third period. And they let Tampa back into that game a couple days ago. And they let Colorado back into that game too last week. So I know Pittsburgh usually comes out pretty strong, but as the game goes on, they start to fade a little bit.
That's
I would
true.
probably
But
take
Detroit's
Pittsburgh puck line in the first period.
that wouldn't be a bad move. I could see that. Detroit just has a really poor defense, and they got Lyon in net, who's playing way too much. I imagine it'll be a Lyon. Who else are they going to go with? Like, who is their backup right now? Reimer. Oh, I guess they could go with the veteran here, I suppose. He hasn't played for a long time.
As he was called in Toronto, they used to call him Optimus Rhyme when he was playing well in Toronto. Optimus Rhyme.
Yeah.
Eh? Give it to the Toronto fan base to come up with a nickname for James Reimer.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't even know that. Why didn't I know that? But I'm probably looking at Pittsburgh here. I don't like the price, though. That's the thing. Minus 145, really?
Yeah, I'm not taking the full game there. I'm not going to take Pittsburgh full game. Take Pittsburgh first period. The home crowd was pumped when they played Tampa. They just came out flying against them, and then they just dropped dead and almost gave that game back to them.
Yeah. Detroit should be coming balls out here, too. Maybe over 1.5 first period here, too.
Andrew, Detroit's the hottest place to be at, buddy.
It's just 6. I could even see an over full game, really. But so now we'll keep on going through the theme here. Detroit's pretty simple. I mean, I think they're just going to keep on adding next year. They'll take their draft pick or whatever, and I don't think Stevie Y is going to. I don't think Stevie Y is going to stop taking his foot off the pedal here. Yeah, definitely defense, but he's got to do a better job of it. That's like the elephant in the room here is Stevie Y has not really done well adding free agents. Sherratt, Mata, like really, that's There's been lots of freaking whispers out there. There's been lots of whispers out there about ownership and what they might do in that situation with Stevie Y. Have you heard that?
No.
Yeah. Well, look at his drafting record. Okay, Raymond was good. Edvinson, I don't know, he might be good, but I mean, when you look at the roster, Raymond was a pretty decent pickup, but you got to remember they passed on Hughes. And who did they take? Zadina. for the life of me, when they did that, I was like, what the hell are you doing? And as it turns out, I was probably correct. I don't know. Yzerman's draft record is not the greatest in the world.
In
These
Detroit,
guys have been rebuilding.
in Detroit, it's been questionable, but in Tampa, he drafted Kucherov, Vasilevsky, Braden Point, Andre Palat, Sorelli. I know he drafted Cal Foote. He signed Tyler Johnson, Gord, McDonough, Sergachev, Chernak.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you can lay it all on Ben Sherrod as the biggest culprit in Detroit, but I think by him not going after anybody at the trade deadline, I think he's going to build it low and slow like he did kind of in Tampa. And when it's time to pounce, he's going to pounce. And then Detroit's going to be a good team for a little while.
He kind of pounced last year. I mean, he threw a shit ton at JT Compher. And he traded for, is he even in the lineup right now? Where the hell is he?
Yeah, Compher is there. Then there's
Andrew Kopp. Okay, Andrew Kopp's injured. I mean, that's not looking like a very good contract at $5 million, Andrew Kopp. And he gave up,
But I think the Lightning were in a little bit better shape when Yzerman got there. I think Detroit was a little deeper down the totem pole when Yzerman got there. I think he had a lot more work to do than he had in Tampa.
Yeah, I would agree. But I mean, when you look down this lineup, like Alex DeBrincat's not looking like a good trade now. David Perron, I guess he's going to be a free agent. He'll be gone somewhere, probably in the end of the year. But I mean, is Fabry worth the $4 million right now?
Mm-hmm.
He's had injury problems, and he was having injury problems when they gave him that contract. Now he'll be a free agent at the end of the year. But when you look at their, Elmer Soderblom looks like he's going to be a good one. Jonathan Begren is below the curve right now as far as where they thought he was going to be. But I mean, I don't see much. William Vollander looks like he's going to be a good defenseman eventually, but he has no offense whatsoever. He's going to be a defensive defenseman. Besides that, what do they got, really? Like, I don't see how they've really built a solid base of prospects here with all their draft picks.
Yeah, I just wish they wouldn't have got rid of, I know Tyler Bertuzzi, but I mean, they should have kind of kept Philip Roenick as well too. I think him with the right player, like it's hard to put him not beside Quinn Hughes right now, but him on the right defense with the right defense partner.
Yeah. Anyways, I hate to say that because, like, I really hate to say that because you as well as me, we are both huge Stevie Yzerman fans. I'm an absolute. I had a life-size Stevie Y poster on my freaking wall when I was a kid, and actually, if I still had that poster, I'd probably, and my wife would allow me to do so, I'd probably have it up there again.
Yeah, he was my idol growing up, man. I was number 19 and still playing in hockey these days. I still wear number 19, and no matter what sport I play, and had pictures and Detroit jerseys, everything all over my room growing up. Even though I grew up in Ontario, all over Leaf country, I was an Yzerman fan growing up. And he was my idol, man. He was my idol since I was a kid.
Me too. I was a Toronto fan until I was 12, and then I became an Edmonton Oilers fan, but Stevie Y was always my fave of all time. Roddy Brindamore, close second. All right. Let's we got on about this game enough here. We talked about the Rangers Philadelphia. We talked about the Philadelphia situation. As far as we didn't really talk about what Pittsburgh which is, I think Pittsburgh's going to keep on adding. I don't think they're going to sell off. I really don't think so.
You know why they won't is because they got rid of Gensel. They brought in some guys for Gensel, but they also got Michael Bunting in this, and he's been playing all right. You insulate him with Rust with Malkin on that second line. You put Ron Crosby. I mean, Malkin's been playing a lot better lately as well too. I don't know what's got under him, but apparently since his parents come over from Russia during the end of the season every year, he starts playing a little better. And Carlson's putting up some points now. Tang's not giving it away. Nedeljkovic looks like he's still in the number one job in Pittsburgh right now, so you should probably just leave him as the number one in Pittsburgh over Jari, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, I think they might try to move on from Jari. I got to look at that contract to see if that's even possible, though. I think they could try to move on from Jari and maybe add a different goaltender, but because they could get some assets for him, and they could probably find a goaltender out there as good as him for less money. But Jari's not he's had his moments. It's not terrible. But the thing is, $5 million until 2028 might be hard to. Yeah, with the kind of numbers he has there, maybe he's pretty much locked in here now.
And Nedeljkovic might be playing his way into a contract as well too. He'll probably be getting a bit of a raise.
Yeah, how old is he? 28. Yeah, he's going into his prime here, and he's played really well. But I mean, could be interesting. He's a free agent too at the end of the year. With the goaltender situation out there, somebody might even pay up more than you think, and maybe Pittsburgh can't do it with Jari there. You know, if somebody offered up $4 million a year somewhere, I don't think Pittsburgh can match that unless they move Jari. And I think there are teams out there that might at least approach the 3.5 mark. There are teams out there that desperately need goaltending that could look at him as a late bloomer. He's reaching his prime. He had a very good year. I don't know. 3.5 seems rich, though. It's not the greatest numbers out there. But if you think he's got a lot of upside, he could price himself out of Pittsburgh, and they're stuck with Jari again. And that would be shitty. St. Martin has what? Kings. He took ML and Flames PL. What? I can't take the Flames PL for anything, to tell you the honest truth. I should probably be looking at the games that are going on right now. I get so into doing this. Beard
oh my God!
really
No goals in the Yotes Vancouver game yet. Oh no, 1-0 Arizona.
1-0 Arizona.
Yeah, they just scored. Josh Brown, really? Oh, at least they got their point drop hit.
I think Josh Brown is probably surprised he got that. Oh, they're just market prices right now. That's what he's saying. Oh, okay. Wasn't making those picks. Oh, okay. Cool. Thanks, buddy. Right on. All right. Ottawa, Tampa Bay.
Oh, jeez. That's
a tough one, isn't it?
That's an over, but I think Tampa there, probably puck line even. I don't think Ottawa is going to be playing that hard away from home.
You think they give up the ghost here?
I think Tampa just wants second in the division, so if they play the Leafs and they beat the Leafs, then they can at least have second in the Atlantic.
They got the Leafs the last game of the season for them, too. That'll be an interesting game. Ottawa's been playing with some jam, but they lost against Florida, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, 2-0.
Yeah. Tampa did a good job against Columbus. Yeah, I just get the feeling that Tampa's trying to ramp themselves up for the playoffs here. If they play with any jam at all, they're probably beating Ottawa. I agree with you. I can't see how, I can't see how they take a vacation in this game, and that's pretty much what they would have to do to lose this game. They pretty much would have to take a vacation in this game. It's 6.5, probably an over, I would think too. I mean, you think Ottawa's going to try to shut down Tampa Bay here? Might even be Johansson in that here. It might be time to put Johansson in that. Why not? Why would you play Vass here? You got guys that drive the net like Kachuk, and you got Brady Kachuk driving the net all game. Like, do you want to take that chance? Why? Put Johansson in this game, and then we got over all day.
Yeah, especially because you're going to Washington for a 5:30 game on Saturday, so it's a little bit of a quick turnaround.
Right. Yeah, do they care what happens in Ottawa here? Probably not. So why would you waste Vasilevsky here? I think it'll be Johansson. And for Ottawa, it'll be whoever they put in. Doesn't matter, Korpisalo or Forsberg have both been asked. So this has got to be over all day. Yeah. Unless, they just don't care. If they do one of those floater games where both teams play perimeter and just move on to the next game, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That could be what happens here too. But I don't see that with Ottawa. If there's one thing you can say about Ottawa, they generally don't do that. They generally fight through the game, and with Brady Kachuk as their leader and stuff like that, they usually don't do the let's both play perimeter and fade. So, yeah, I like over too. Mm-hmm. You said over too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you'll see some goals there.
So we're back to, sticking with the theme as we were doing. Ottawa, what the fuck do you do? Play general manager with that one.
Chikrin's still got another year on his deal, so you could probably get some good value at the draft for him. Maybe try to get a goaltender, move a goaltender. I don't know.
Pretty tough.
Josh Norris might not play another game, even though he's in his early 20s. The guy's injury prone, so Ottawa's in a tough spot.
He cannot stay off the injured reserve list there. You got Drew Bannister. You can't trade Stützle, although he had a bad.
Drew Batherson, not Bannister.
Oh, sorry, Batherson. Did I say Bannister? Sorry.
Yeah, I knew you were talking about
showing my age.
Bannister is no,
showing my age. Showing my age, Drew Bannister. Batherson, yeah. I think, yeah. I honestly, usually I can look down a lineup and figure out what to do. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do here. I really don't. I don't know. The only thing I can think with the cap going up, they may just keep. You said Chikrin, but who are you going to replace? Clevens. He's only 22 years old. Like, who's going to replace these guys? If you trade Chikrin, who's going to replace him? You're not getting another defenseman.
Brandstrom's going to get better. Chabot's not a bad defenseman. He came off a long-term injury. I know Anton Zub or whatever. He's not that bad of a defenseman either, but you might need a veteran back there on D. Maybe a veteran right hand shot.
Which is not the easiest thing to find out there, especially when you're Ottawa. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who wants to go to Ottawa? I think we mentioned this before. The guy I liked for Ottawa or Toronto. Actually, I think it was Toronto. I said. And I think he played in Ottawa before, actually. I'm pretty positive. Dylan DeMello.
Mm-hmm.
That's a guy that, he's only 31 years old. He's a great two-way player. They could try to bring him back.
So
somebody like
that. In Ottawa, I think his contract's up and he's been hurt. Or I think he might be
his career looks like it's almost over. What's that?
I think Hamonic signed a $1.1 million 2-year deal, but I think he signed it this past summer, so I think he might be signed for one more year.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't really. I mean, it doesn't really move the needle much. He may be there, but he really should only be a seventh defenseman. I think they got to rework this defense, and I don't know what they're going to do with their goaltending. And that might be the biggest problem. That Korpisalo contract might have been what sunk him. Like, he has been absolute ass all year long. Yeah. Really. It's been terrible. And Forsberg hasn't had a good year either. So I think that is really what it comes down to with this team is if you don't somehow find a way to either get these guys playing to their potential or get a goaltender, I think they're swimming upstream no matter what they try to do.
Yeah, and Pearlo, I've watched Ottawa at a couple games this year, and I was a few rows away from the ice, and I just saw the team and saw the players, and like they felt like they were all just looking at each other to be like, somebody fucking do something here, like somebody like let's go, let's get back in this game, or let's take over this game, or let's give her. And their heads all seemed to be on a swivel on the ice, because I was down close to ice level, and they were just like on each other, like just looking around and being like, okay, is there somebody here that's gonna fucking do something tonight? That's what it kind of felt like watching the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, it's kind of, to me, I could be wrong, but it seems like a lack of direction. It seems like if everybody's looking at everybody, it's kind of maybe saying, do we even know what we're doing here?
That's what it felt like watching them some nights, because the talent was there, the pace and stuff was okay, and like just broken plays and stuff once in a while, and they just didn't seem like they were all on the same page, and it felt like they were looking around at each other to kind of like, okay, I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah, that's why I think I'm not sure you're going to see much of a difference in the lineup next year. They're going to really look at a coach that can bring some structure and everything. Yeah, there's been talk of Berube, but what have you, but he's not really a big X's and O's guy, so I don't want to speculate on who it might be. But whoever they bring in, they got to have some they got to be able to beat down some structure. Like, I don't even think beat down. I think this team looks like, and I said this under DJ Smith, like they weren't getting the proper direction. They didn't know exactly where they stood. And that's possible that DJ Smith was trying to build a hybrid system, which, teams like Tampa Bay that have won cups use. And they were so young that these kids just didn't understand it. So I think they need a coach that's got to start somewhere and build somewhere. It seemed like DJ Smith was trying to get these kids to do stuff that was like above their understanding, and he didn't really have a basic like where to start. He just kind of went, "We're going to do this." You know what I mean? It's sort of like what Knobloch did in Edmonton. They started from a base, and then he started building from there. And I didn't really see that with DJ Smith. It just seemed like he had the final result, and these players it was above their heads.
Are you watching this Vancouver Arizona game right now?
I'm not. I got to go get my. You can talk for a bit. I got to go get the remote so I can turn it on.
You see how many shots are in this game? It's like everybody went out to the bar, and I think both teams went out last night in Vancouver together because you got a Josh Brown goal with a Voilia Chonok assist, and the guy hasn't played since November for the Coyotes. and the shots are like 11-6 or something for Vancouver. And you're more than halfway through the game. It's like, what's going on here?
Oh, no. I
and
guess
it's
my
1-0.
over's not coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. Party at Connor Garland's house last night.
I said we don't stream tomorrow anyways. Yeah, we'll be streaming tomorrow.
Yeah.
Today's Wednesday, right? I might even stream Friday for the hell of it. The boss isn't here. I can do whatever the hell I want.
Pearlo could have the Pearlo cam 24/7 on him.
Yeah.
He'll just be taped to his head.
I gotta get a freaking helmet cam and just go everywhere in my day. That would be freaking hilarious. Just talk hockey to everybody. Yeah, while I'm moving bodies.
Yeah. Just walking around all day long asking people what their opinions are on stuff or getting their best bets. And even though if they don't even know nothing about hockey, just ask them, name one NHL player, and they'll be like, what? Patrick Mahomes?
You think this dude's dead? Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah.
Dumping bodies. Yeah. I'll be right back.
All right, buddy. Yeah, and those tickets aren't cheap in Vancouver to go to those games and to see this type of performance tonight. That's a tough watch. 1-0 Coyotes. Had a feeling though, because I said halfway through that game for Arizona and Seattle last night, I'm like, if they start getting down a little bit, they're just going to lay up here and just call it a night because they're going to Vancouver next night. Vancouver doesn't have a ton to play for. Neither does Arizona. Vancouver's a nice place to be off the ice as well, too. So it's a midweek game. Nobody has to burn itself out. Vancouver's got a hockey night in Canada and Edmonton their next games. They don't want to go balls out either. No. Interesting, though. But who do you think Pearlo is going to take between the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars tomorrow night?
Oh, I got to take the Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty much the game of the night as far as two top teams playing each other tomorrow. Big divisional matchup. I know Dallas is running away with the Central right now. But if the Jets want any hope in that division,
it'd probably be tight.
Yeah,
I'd have to look at it a little deeper, but we're going to get to that game anyways. Let's just keep on going now. So, what did we do? Did Ottawa Tampa Bay? many games do we got here?
Montreal Islanders.
Okay, we can do that. Like we didn't do Toronto, New Jersey yet, but we can do Montreal Islanders. I think the Islanders win that game all day. I just can't see how they like puck line or whatever. And I don't like to take puck line with the Islanders because they generally don't do that sort of thing because they are the Thailanders. But
Sitting at a 5.5 right now.
I would take the over too. Yeah. I would take the. I mean, Montreal's pretty much done.
Mm.
The Islanders are going to give everything they got in this game. They're not leaving anything on. Yeah. Any team that is going in to play Montreal or Arizona or San Jose or Chicago that is going to leave it all on the ice, they're winning that game.
Dude, and I said it about a couple weeks ago. I said on the stream, I said, I think the Islanders out of all these teams are going to make the playoffs. And this is one game that I was looking forward to, too, because Patrick Waugh against the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, yeah.
Full game for the New York Islanders, sandwiched right between the Rangers game. So I know New York's probably going to want to bury Montreal here because they know they're going to Madison Square Garden in a day and a half at 12:30 Eastern on Saturday right after this game. So you're going to want to take care of business here because if you lose to Montreal in this spot and you go to Madison Square Garden, that's more than a must-win for them Saturday afternoon. So love the Islanders here. Love the over. I'll take the Islanders first period. Puck line probably in this spot. I think Patrick will have them ready to play.
I would even consider team total over for the Islanders. Like pretty much everything on the Islanders here is what I would play. So keeping with the theme, on Montreal, it's pretty simple. They might add a couple guys or whatever. They're just building, and they've got a lot. They have drafted well. You gotta love the what's his name there? He's coming.
Yuri Slafkovsky.
Slavkovsky, man. Guy looks like a. It's funny. I remember a guy I respect a lot. Frick, his name is escaping me now, but I will try to remember it because he's one of my favorite guys when it comes to drafting. He's like bang on most of the time. And I don't know why he's not coming. But he said that Slavkovsky is the Rantanen. He's pretty much a carbon copy of Rantanen. And he's sure looking like he is becoming that, right?
Yeah, and he was like 2 years ago, wasn't he? He was a rookie last year, was he not?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if this is his third year or his second year. Well, I guess I could look it up. But he was drafted.
He was drafted in 2022, yeah. So this is his second year. He was first overall in Montreal 2 years ago.
Right, 2 years ago. And people they didn't like that. They didn't like that pick. I can't remember who else. I'm going to look it up here.
Oh, you know who came in? I remember this draft now. Yeah, I don't know if New Jersey hit on the second pick, but yeah, that was a Shane Wright draft.
Yeah, it was Simone Nemec and then Logan Cooley. Yeah, Shane Wright was like projected to go number 1 and he fell to number 4. But I think like a lot of people are all over Simone Nemec, who, I mean, he's developing well as a defenseman. But I mean, I think they nailed it.
For sure, because if you look at the top three guys, are all NHL ready right now. The fourth guy, Shane Wright, maybe next year. But.
Yeah, Cutter Gauthier. That was an interesting thing, eh? He did not want to be drafted by. Apparently, from what I heard, is he told Philadelphia, "Do not draft me." He told them. He hates Philadelphia. He's from Pittsburgh, and he freaking genuinely hates Philadelphia. Would not play for them. Like, isn't that awesome though? In a way, that you would have like that much of a disdain. Like, say a guy was going to be drafted by the Calgary Flames, and he's from Edmonton, and he's like, "No, I freaking hate them." That's pretty much what he did. It takes balls, and it takes a lot of hate to do that. But yeah, that was an interesting draft. But anyways, he's looking really good right now, and Montreal looks like they could be a lot better than people could think next year. I would say if you get some big step ups from a lot of these young guys, like they also got that Kevin Korchinski. Chicago did. Chicago got Kevin Korchinski, and he's played like really well for them as a young kid. So that was a nice pickup as well. But Montreal's got a lot of young players there that could make a big step up next year and surprise everybody. Sorry, go ahead. Oh, you're saying you're going to move on for a sec. Okay. All right. Well, while you're gone, we'll look at the next. And this is the one, Winnipeg, Dallas. What was I going to pick for Winnipeg, Dallas? It's probably one of the toughest games of the night right here. Winnipeg are 2-7 straight up in their last 9 games against Dallas. They're 1-8 in their last 9 games when playing Dallas on the road. They are on a 4-game heater, though. All overs. Actually, there's a push. 3 overs and a push. Playing against LA, Dallas, Minnesota, and Nashville. I'll see what kind of the road splits were for that. Dallas has only lost 1 game in their last 10. And they just barely beat Buffalo. Destroyed Colorado. Could have been a down spot, but they ended up pulling out the game against Buffalo. Now they're playing against Winnipeg, who is a division rival.
It's going to be tough for Winnipeg to catch Dallas in that division. So, I mean,
yeah,
there's what's I think 7 points ahead or something, 5 points ahead.
So what's the motivation here for Winnipeg? They're pretty much set in their spot, aren't they? Besides the fact that it's a division rival, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Winnipeg's 2 points behind Colorado, though. So I think the points mean more for Winnipeg. So I think pardon me, I think they would rather start at home against Colorado in that whiteout in Winnipeg than have to go to the altitude for the first 2 games of that series.
Yeah. That would be huge.
I don't mind Winnipeg in this spot. They got a game in hand as well, too, on Colorado and Dallas.
Dallas is kind of set in the top of the West almost, like. So, yeah, it might be. Spot-wise, it's probably Winnipeg, yeah. I would say.
Yeah, I think Winnipeg's got more to play for here, that's for sure. Definitely not taking Dallas at minus 145.
Yeah, I don't think so. If Winnipeg wasn't playing so much to the over lately, it feels like an under, but
It's a 5.5.
yeah, I can't take the under. I think the over would be the play. Arizona, Vancouver. Arizona scores 2-1.
Oh, okay.
Should I got a better chance at that?
Oh, JT Miller. Okay, I got the Quinn Hughes assist. JT Miller. Who scored it for Arizona? I got a
Kolyachuk.
Oh my
Pretty
god.
sure he didn't have that.
The guy that
Pretty sure he didn't have that.
he hasn't played since November. He's got 2 points on the night.
Well, yeah, it was just a scene. It was just a scene I shot.
22-year-old second-round pick by the Florida Panthers in 2019
Yeah,
from Minsk, Belarus.
yeah.
What the hell's going on here? Where's Connor Garland tonight?
Where's Vancouver tonight? I need goals in the third, mostly, but from Vancouver.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind taking a flyer on the Jets there. I don't know about the over because you got Hellebuck and Ottinger. It might feel like a bit of a playoff type game. I don't think it's going to be a run and gun game by any means. See like a 3-2 or a 4-2.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if Dallas wants to set the pace. They can, but
for the price, I'd take a flyer on Winnipeg.
come on, not kidding. So I'm just trying to look at starting goaltenders for tomorrow, and they keep on sending me to freaking yesterday.
Beard's probably like, shut the stream down, guys. You've been on for 2 hours.
I don't care. Anybody's listening. Boss is out. I'm making the rules.
Represented by Fan Sports, he is Pearlo P-Pow Picks and Rico, the beer league aficionado.
It's B Pow Picks. B Pow.
B-Pow.
Yeah. Not P Pow. B Pow.
That's why I'm not the host. B-Pow Picks.
Well, no, yeah, but he's the one. He says P Pow too.
Does he?
I think I made a mistake. Yes. Says it all the time. He says P Pow. I'm like,
okay, so you got to correct him. Why don't you correct him? You corrected me.
Well, I did actually before, and he still freaking does the same shit. All right.
All right, let's go. San Jose Kraken, game of the night.
There we go. The game of the night. Let's get at her. It's Kraken's at home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, take the Kraken at home.
Kraken puck line.
Yeah, they're a veteran team. They're not gonna even though they're out of it, they're gonna play hard for their fans for sure. No
Yeah.
doubt about it. They're
Exactly
not
my
gonna
thought.
shit the bed.
Their fans show up to the game. It's one of the most expensive tickets in the whole National Hockey League to go to a game. They're going to perform in
Yeah.
front of the home crowd, or people will stop going, or maybe they won't stop.
They're not
going.
gonna
It'll be
fuck around
Toronto.
here. Like people don't realize that the Kraken are a veteran team. There's not a lot of young players on that team. Like it's a very veteran team. So and they built it that way for a reason. I would imagine they want these young guys to learn from as many veterans as possible. It's kind of cool the way they did it, actually.
Yeah.
And
The
so
problem.
they're going to teach these young kids that you don't fuck around at home. I don't care where you are in the standings or whatever. You go out there balls out at home.
Yeah.
And I'll take the Kraken puck line. I don't know what's the price.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm just looking like the Kraken. They're right at the bottom of the league with San Jose in goals for. They just didn't have quite the shooting percentage they did last year, and that's why you said that they'd regress this year. And they're top 10, like they're 8th in the league in goals allowed, so they're not giving much up. It's just their shooting percentage came back down to reality, and you knew that there wasn't any snipers on that team. It's just their shooting percentage was just abnormally high last year, and that's how they made people believe that they were better than they were.
That's sign of a coach that shooting percentage is usually about atmosphere and just feeling the groove and stuff like that. Like it's kind of what Taka did early on with Vancouver, and it's kind of the shine's kind of come off of it now. It can only go for so long. Like it only takes a couple guys to all of a sudden get out of that groove and go into slump, and then it's over. So, but in this case, I still think the Kraken are going to, one way or another, win this 3-0 or 4-1 or something like that. They're not going to freaking give up to the Sharks here. They're going to play for their fans. So we both agree with that. As far as what they're going to do next year on this one, the Sharks are going to continue to rebuild. I mean, that's pretty much it. And the Kraken are. I don't know what the mastermind of Francis is here. They got a bunch of guys that are right around their 30s, and he's not selling them off. His idea is basically just to build a veteran team that builds a culture in this room, and I'd rather draft lower and have a good culture, which makes sense, I guess, right? Kind of makes sense. Some of the look at teams like Buffalo that drafted way high or way down third, but they had no culture in that organization. So you're almost wasting draft picks if you don't have a good solid culture and base to build your team around. I used to be the one tank and tank and get the superstar, which you can make a case for, but when it comes right down to it, if you don't have a good culture in your room, and if you don't have a good base understanding of what you're supposed to do as a professional, you're pretty much, doesn't matter who you draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I liked what Chicago did. Unfortunately, it didn't work out with Perry, but Foligno and Perry there. Anyways, Kings, Flames, give me Kings. I will not take the Flames. And I know you're listening, so Beard, so I won't go on about it anymore. But give me the Kings. What do you say?
You know what's funny about this game is both teams have Anaheim next game. One of them has them on Friday and the other one has them on Saturday. So it's
oh, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I like LA in this spot because Calgary has Anaheim and then they're heading home, I think. So
Yeah, they might win that one against Anaheim, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could go on. I've already gone on and on enough about what Cal. But going with the theme, and we'll finish her off here because I think we have maybe one person watching if we're lucky. What the fuck do you do if you're the Flames? Like, seriously, put yourself in that. What do you do here? Can't trade Huberdeau. Can't trade Kadri.
Salary cap era problems, man. And Craig Conroy has inherited one in Huberdeau. You can't tie yourself into shit like that for that long. You could tie yourself into something like that for 2-3 years and bite the bullet, but you can't tie yourself for something like that for that long.
Yeah.
And it's too bad. The only other way around it is to find somebody that could play for him, but there's no other Barkovs in the league. There's not many centers in the draft like we spoke of earlier that can just make him look better on the ice. I mean, he needs the right fit, and it doesn't look like the right fit is there right now, unless somebody like a Sharon Govich starts playing center and becomes a Barkov type player. I don't know if he's the same sort of skill set as he is, but I mean, you're gonna have to find somebody because you got a ton more years of Huberdeau on that team, so you got to find somebody and dissect Huberdeau's game and find somebody that can basically gel with him and make that contract feasible, because if not, it's going to be a long tenure in Calgary in this rebuild.
Yeah, it's going to be like really. I think I have to find somebody that. I think they need to find somebody like extremely fiery that can put a fire under Huberdeau's ass somehow. Like they can go in there and say, like a no excuses type dude, like, or something like that. Like, I'm not sure because you can't rebuild. There's not much of a rebuild you can do. You have to add in the offseason. You sold off a couple guys. You get some draft picks. You hope you hit on them. But, I mean, there's not really much rebuild potential here. We got too many contracts that nobody even wants. I mean, the only thing they got is to just keep buying and hoping. And I'm not sure where you go. You need somebody fiery to, like, maybe a Marchessault, but you got a lot of young forwards too. That's or small forwards. They got a lot of small forwards already. They kind of need, like, I don't know, a Matthew Tkachuk or something like that. Sorry, Calgary fans. They need someone to, like an O'Reilly or somebody like that. They need somebody that can go shake things up and like a guy like Huberdeau, you say, look, you're getting paid $10.5 million, motherfucker. Grab him by the freaking throat and say, you got to start doing some shit. That's really what I think. It's the only thing I can see that would be effective at all. Calgary, it's a dire spot. They back themselves into the wall. I think Monahan's probably going to reside in Winnipeg. In fact, I don't think they would have traded for him otherwise. But they could, if they could outprice the Jets and bring Monahan back to Calgary again, maybe that's the guy that can say, because look, like he had like major injury issues his whole career, right? Like people wrote him off, like he's not going to be, he's done. And he went to Montreal and he came back. He had like neck and some sort of like spinal stuff that they had to do, and everybody thought he was done. And he worked his balls off and he got back in. I would take a shot with him. That's a guy that can go back to Calgary and show and bring pride back to being a Flame again. And he could look at Huberdeau and say, "What your problem is you got paid $10.5 million and you're scared that you can't live up to your contract or whatever the fuck it is his problem is." Like Monahan could go there and say, "Dude, I got freaking spinal surgery and had to come back and look where I am right now. Like you've got nothing to bitch about." Like maybe he's a guy that could ride a guy like Huberdeau in the off season and say, "I'll tell you what, you're making $10.5 million a year. You're coming to me to the gym every day, every fucking day. I'll knock down that door every morning, and you're coming here." You know, that's what I think needs to be done with a guy like Hoobs. He's got a lot of talent, but not much heart. And what do you think?
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. One thing that St. Martin brought up in the chat too is we didn't go over the Leafs Devils game tomorrow.
Oh shit! Okay, we better do that. Sorry, St. Martin. We'll finish off with that, and then we'll go like. I could talk hockey all night, but I do have to get up in the morning. So, New Jersey, Toronto. That's a revenge. It's supposed to be a revenge spot for New Jersey, but I look at that defense and I just can't see New Jersey winning a game for the rest of the season. To tell you the honest truth, they're too beat up on the and Hughes isn't even going to be in now, right? He's injured for the rest of the year. So, yeah, it's Toronto puck line for me. What do you think?
Toronto just won that game 5-2 a couple days ago, and it's Toronto's they want a home ice advantage against Florida. They don't want to go on the road against Florida in case it's an extended series and it goes 7. And plus they want to get themselves into form as well too. The only thing is this whole Matthews chasing 70 thing is either it gotta go away or come to light. So that's going to be interesting to see. That it seems like most of the players are just feeding Matthews. So a lot of people might be on the over in this game. I don't know so much. I don't know if these teams are going to go at each other like the last time when there was a 5.
Yeah, I think it could be a little more low event.
I think it might be a little lower event because I know New Jersey's out of the playoffs. They're not technically eliminated, but they're not making the playoffs this year. And Joseph Woll's going to be in net. The guys are going to want to play in front of him, and I think most of the time the guys are going to be feeding Matthews all night. So I'll take the Leafs in this game, probably an under if you can get a 6.5. I don't know what the total's at.
That's 6.5, yeah.
Yeah, if it's a 6.5, I'd probably squeeze the under there. I can't see these teams going at each other that hard.
Yeah, at least, I mean, New Jersey is getting John Marino back. That's pretty huge.
Yeah, and Jack Hughes is gone, and Jake Allen plays well against the Leafs, it seems like most nights.
Yeah, well, they got who's going to, like, Kakanen's injured. And they don't know how long it's going to be for him to come back. Yeah. So they got to be calling up probably Nigel Dawes, Kira Schmid. Probably Schmid.
Yeah. I mean, New Jersey's just horrible defensively, and that's what it comes down to. Both teams can put the puck in the net, but Toronto's middle of the league in goals allowed, and New Jersey's bottom of the league. So this game usually screams you over, but I think just the time of year and just the time that they're playing each other, I can't see it being.
Yeah, well, this is in New Jersey too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and New Jersey sucks at scoring first at home. They sucks, or winning the first period. So just take Toronto puck line first period. And then if they do get up on New Jersey, I don't think they're going to want to like keep on running and gunning with them. They'll probably just try to shut them down. And I think New Jersey might even just like basically give up anyways. That's why I don't like the over. I think New Jersey could give up here. I think they could fuck it.
That, and you know what happens if Toronto gets past Florida and they come in second in the Atlantic, and all of a sudden Boston plays Tampa and Tampa beats Boston in the first round, then next thing you know, the Leafs have home ice. So I think they want to start at home against Florida in that playoff series, and I'm not taking New Jersey here.
No, there's no way I'm taking New Jersey. There's no way. It's Toronto or nothing, and the price is probably not very good. I'm just going to check it out here.
But living in Leafs Nation, I have the hardest time betting on the Leafs too, because they'll just beat anybody, but they'll lose to anybody. It's just because, you know, the goaltending and the defensive depth and, you know, the top guys showing up or not showing up. That's why Toronto's always been a tough team to bet on too. So like, it's not like they have a score.
Yeah, you got to take Toronto and reg to get. You can't take them at minus 200. But I think it's Toronto or nothing. I can't see how you could possibly take New Jersey in that spot. So we went through all the games. Now we did Calgary. Yes, we did. All right, guys. I wish I had an outro for you, but I don't. We can kind of make one up.
Well, that's wicked that St. Martin hung in there. It's like 2:15 or now 2:25 in Australia where he is, and it's like 12:25 after midnight.
It's cool that we got 16 people watching this shit for like 2 hours, man. And we were just like, we weren't hyping anything. We were just going straight out hockey geek shit for like 2.5 hours, and people were watching. So anybody that's been watching this whole time, I appreciate you. I appreciate you because we love the hockey geeks of the world. I am a hockey geek. I could talk hockey all day long, get into every little angle, all that kind of stuff like that. And it's nice to see that there's lots of guys out there that do that sort of thing, or ladies. There's plenty of ladies that are hockey geeks like we are. So anyways, hope your bets all go out for you. Hit that we gave you now. That can change in the morning. By the way, make sure you're checking out our Twitters. What's your Twitter again? It's WingsFan.
At Wings_fan79.
Yeah, and mine is Pearlo's NHL POW. Come on Twitter. You can talk more and more there about hockey. And trust me, if you message me, I will talk to you about hockey.
Yeah, even send us a message. Ask us a question about hockey. Ask us a question about our play, or what do we think about this in a certain game or anything. If we don't have the answer, we'll definitely find the honest one for you. So if you have any questions,
or just tell us why we're wrong. Tell us what you disagree with and why we're wrong, or whatever the case may be. Just banter on if you want to talk about your team or whatever. Getting on Twitter is a good way to do that. We're going to be back on tomorrow night, and the boss isn't here, so you're going to see much of the same as tonight. It's going to be lots of games on tomorrow night as well. So I'm kidding. I can't wait till Beard comes back. He's amazing, and he is the freaking skipper of this whole thing, and always will be. But we're out. See you later, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. Have good times. Okay, bye.